Okay, great. Next, we need to, what do we need to do? Oh, we need to add in a sky. So let's grab the sky. For that, I'm going to go back up to the upper corner here, look around here and say sunset dramatic. Let's grab that. That's pretty nice. Again, I'm going to use my Command A to select the whole image, Command C for copy. I'm going to go back to my long road. I'm going to hit Command V to paste. Now, we can tell this image is not as large as the other images we've been playing with. So when we enlarge it, there will be a little pixelization. We're going to have to judge how badly or how well that turns out. I'm going to grab this move tool. Look at that. In the upper corner, drag my sky to the upper corner, say Edit, Transform, and Scale. And then I'm going to scale this thing out. Now, holding Shift keeps it nicely in aspect ratio. And I'm going to drop it about that size. And I'm going to hit Return. It's not too shabby. It's not in the order I want it to be. See, my sun is actually above my mountains. I don't see my mountains anymore. So I'm going to grab that sun layer and drag it below my mountains. Nice. Then I'm going to use my Move tool again, grab my sky, and pull it up so it looks like that sun is just bursting over the edge. Now, I'm going to pull it down just enough so that my mountain range doesn't completely show. There we go, something like that. Not too bad. It's looking pretty good. The one thing we're missing, though, is the orange. We need the sun. So I'm going to go back over to my list of open files, and I'm going to choose orange. Boom! Here's a little trick. If you hit Command R, you get rulers. If I go inside my ruler, do you see how I'm inside that ruler? Not up here, but right here in the ruler. If I click and drag, you can drag out guides. Now, if I go over here to the left and do the same thing, go inside the ruler and drag, I can drag out a second set of guides. Now, you might ask, why are we dragging guides out? Well, the next tool we're going to use is the circular marquee, or the elliptical marquee, I should say. Now, if I start here in the corner of my thing and drag, I'm off a little. You see how it's not actually centered as to where I want it to be on the orange? So I'm going to hit Command D to deselect. And by dropping these guides, this is an old trick to realize that if you extend the outer lines of a perfect circle, and you start your marquee right there. When you drag, by the time you're done, your circle should align just about perfectly. So I'm going to adjust it just a little, so I'm eating in just a little to the yellow of the outer line. And I'm going to stop there. Don't love that. Command D. I'm going to do that again one more time. Here we go. Woo! And that's a little better. We're going to grab that. I'm going with that. So for this, we're not going to do anything too fancy. I'm going to hit Command Copy, and then I'm going to go back to my road and hit Command Paste. Now, for something like this is the perfect chance for your orange. If I wanted to, I could go to my orange layer, add a mask, and then if I wanted to, I could come in here and with a brush, much smaller brush that is, and make sure, I would probably use a little bit of a harder brush. I don't want too soft of an edge. I'll go for like an 80, so like an 80% hardness right there. And I'll just blow up a little bit closer in here and maybe go a little smaller with my brush and show you that if I switch my colors, white would reveal, black hides, switch my colors down there in the corner, I can come in here and start to eat away at this. So if I wanted to be super, super clean about this, I could come in here and just slowly work all that stuff away. Now, I don't have time for that right now, but that would be something that in a final piece by you guys, I would expect this level of detail where you'd come in and really start to remove all that stuff. But I'm going to continue on. So I'm going to hit Command, minus, 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 minus. I'm going to scroll up a little, Command minus. And I'm going to say that orange is good, but the orange needs to change in 2 ways. 1, it's a little too big for me. And 2, it's orange, but it's not super orange. So I'm going to make sure that I click on the image so I know I'm talking to just the orange. I'm going to go under Image, and I'm going to go under Adjustments, and I'm going to go under Color Balance. Now, color balance is an amazing way to shift color so that elements that you add together can look proper. Sometimes you'll be adjusting so that maybe the color spectrum's in the right spectrum. So if it's a dreary day, you might dreary up your colors. Or in a case like this, I'm going to want these colors to really pop. So I'm going to show you how I would do that for this orange. Now, I always start with the shadows. Now, here's the midtones, here's the highlights. But I'm going to start with the shadows. And now if I wanted to make this more orange, I would deal probably with a little bit more yellow. And you can see that adjustment. I'm not going to go too far. I'm going to say maybe like a bit more yellow there, about 27. And I'm going to test out the red. Ooh, the red adds a nice little pop of that like really lush orange. Now that adjusted all of the shadow tones. I'm going to then go to the midtones and see if I can up that again. Now if I go a little yellow, that's pretty nice. What happens if I go a little blue? It starts to get a little older looking, so I'm going to keep over this way. I'm not going to go too far with this. I'm going to go maybe like a 17. I'm not going to pull the red through on this one because I want the midtones to be much more yellow and not quite as orange. And then I'm going to go to highlights, and I'm going to do that same thing. What happens if I, oh, look at that. That's pretty nice. If I go the other way, it actually whitens up a little. Do you see how that's really yellow if I go yellow? But if I go towards the blue, it actually gives me a little bit of a crisper white around the edge. So I'm just going to go for a plus 15 on blue, which seems funny, but if you look here on the outer edge, that really whitened that up a little. I'm going to say okay there. And there, my friends, is a much brighter orange than we had previously. Nice. But it's still too large, so I'm going to go back under Image and say, I lied. I'm not going under Image. I'm going under Edit and say Transform and Scale. And I'm going to hold down my Shift and drag that down. And then drag that back up here. Still a little large. Drag it down again. Then drag it back up there. Oh, that's looking pretty nice. Yeah, I'm going to do that. When I'm happy with it, I'm going to hit Return. And there we go. Not too shabby of an image. Now there's one last thing I want to do to this. We have a beautiful composite going on. We have nice sort of balance between all of the layers. We've talked about a couple selection tools, and we talked about color balancing. Let's do one more. The last thing I'm going to want to look at is actually this black background grunge. Look at that. That's pretty gross. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to use my marquee tool, and I'm just going to draw a big square, something like that. I'm going to copy that, Command C. I'm going to go back to my long road, and I'm going to say Command V and paste it. Now it dropped here in the center of my layer, so you might be sitting there going like, I don't see it. Well, I don't see it either. It's layer 4 right here. You can see we don't see it. And I'm going to drag it to the very top. It shows up. I'm going to say Edit, Transform, and Scale. And you might be saying like, Eric, what are you doing? Well, just wait. I'm going to hold down Shift, scale this thing out. And I'm going to hit Return. Look at that. It's nice and nasty. The reason I did this is because without it, we have this nice image. But with it, if I go over here under my layer modes and go under multiply, ooh, what about color burn? Eesh. What about lighten? Okay, looks a little aged. That's all right. How about screen? How about overlay? Ooh, overlay is kind of nice. I like overlay a lot. But here's the issue with it. It's a little strong, right? Now you could deal with opacity, which I'm doing right now, and drop it down, but it drops it down in a whole way that I'm not totally in love with. I'd much rather have a little bit more control over how it laid itself out. So I'm going to put it back up to 100% on opacity. And instead, I'm going to go back to our friend masking. So just to recap, we've talked about our selection tools. We use these rectangular and elliptical marquee tools. We've talked about some of these previously. And we even used our quick selection tool today. But what I'm going to do today is actually go to my layer where my grunge is on. I'm going to add a mask. And then I'm going to use brushes. Now for this, I'm going to want a brush size that is actually pretty large. I'm going to go for something about like yay big, almost the size of the sun, I'd say. I'm then going to go under my brush mode and actually soften it up to probably about 20%. So I'm going to have a nice soft edge on this. And then I'll come back in here and make sure that I have my black color selected, because I'm going to want to sort of erase some of this. But the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust my flow. And the reason for that is I want to softly sort of smudge away this color. I don't want it all to disappear super fast. So I'm going to drop my flow down to like maybe like 15. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to tap. And then I'll maybe tap and drag a little, make a little bit of a circular pattern. Not bad. Actually, it's a little bit too much for me. It's a little too clear. So I'm actually going to switch back to white. Boom. Bring that all back. Ooh, that's nice. That's nice. Then I'll come back here, switch to black because I want to take that out again. And I'm actually going to drop my flow down even further. I'm going to drop my flow down to like maybe like a, yeah, let's go for like a 9. There we go. I'll come back in here and I'll just do a quick circle and then I'm going to leave it. So you can see that in here in the center, it's a little nicer, a little crisper, but then as you move out towards the edge, that grungy texture sort of takes over. And if I wanted to be super careful, I could like go around the edges and just sort of click just a little, like boom, 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 boom. And now we have this wonderful silhouette of grungy darkness around the outside. There we go. That was our quick demo on compositing. So we've covered our selection tools again, which was quite nice. We were able to do a little bit more with our masking, which is this guy down here, masking. And we were even able to use our quick selection tool over here. I hope this was a solid run through of these tools for you. Please apply these to your next project. Thank you.